Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of We Believe in Film. I'm your host, Timothy Ditzler. All right. What's up, guys? What's up? For me, today is Friday, and I'll probably be posting this on Saturday during the day. So, happy weekend, everybody. Sorry, I'm doing my notes on the table. But happy weekend. And man, guess what? I got a new microphone. I don't know if you guys can tell. I know you can probably see, but I got the Rode, the Rode NT USB. And I've done so much research on looking for microphones and ways to kind of up the ante of the podcast, both this one and Analog Talk. I'm coming from using a blue Snowball that I got at Walmart for under $50. It was super cheap, and for what it was, I got really good sound out of it, and I was happy with it, but it just wasn't producing the lows, and it didn't have a pop filter, so I couldn't I couldn't bring the P's in there strong, and if I did, I had to kind of back away from it, which is not the best sound quality. So I just figured, let's get a new microphone and let's try that out. So I recorded last night with Chris and our guest for the Analog Talk episode that's going to be coming out next week on Wednesday, and just going over the footage, is that what we call it? Just going over the audio and listening to it, it just sounds so much better, and it's so much easier to control the levels with this mic. It's just such a good mic. I can't say anything negative about it so far because I've only had good experience. So super pumped. Rode is an awesome company. And hey, Rode, if you're listening, love you guys. Feel free to send me something. Oh man. So, okay, enough of that. Let's get to the topic of today's episode. And this was back in the middle of February. I'd reached out to you guys on my Instagram and I said, hey, send me some questions. I'm going to be doing a YouTube Q&A video, and I want your questions. Man, I got about 100 to 200 questions sent in over, the next month. And I had started to put together a Q&A YouTube video, and I just wasn't happy with how it was coming along. I thought I would do it fancy. I thought I would go to a couple different locations and, the audio was crap because, I was outside, the wind was blowing. My Sony camera doesn't have an external mic jack, and I had recently got a Tascam pocket recorder and a lav mic, but didn't have that at the time. So I'm going to be using that a little more now for the YouTube videos when I'm, outside where it's windy and I need some sort of blockage of the wind, or I just want to up the sound quality because there's this guy I listen to, he's a YouTuber, his name's Craig Adams, and he always says, if it sounds good, it looks good. And, coming from a music background, I agree with that wholehearted. Like, I agree with that 100%. If it sounds good, it just it looks so much better. I know that sounds so funny. All right, man. So let's get into the meat of this episode. Now, I only picked 4. I actually picked the first 4 that were sent in to me. So I think I'm going to make this a series. Just like the old Anchor podcast, I used to do Friday Q&A. You ask, I'll answer. And with the Anchor app, it was pretty cool. You could have a call in. I could have you guys call in. And, I still want to use that option because, the Anchor podcast isn't going anywhere. Like, it's still sitting there. You can still go and listen to the old archives, and you can still call in and leave questions if you guys really want. So if you used to follow me on Anchor, feel free to call in every once in a while. Leave me a question. Say what's up. Yeah, so I used to do a Q&A every Friday. I used to take one question from one of you guys and, answer it. So I picked 4. I'm not saying we'll get through all 4 because I do work today and I've already got 2 hours until I have to go to work, but I'm going to do my best to bang through these. And since this is video, I'm going to throw a little picture of their Instagram up who's asked the question, and I'll throw the question up too, just to give some visual And for the video, I'm going to be working on this webcam that I have. It says that it's 1080 and that it's high def and that it's supposed to be this really good resolution, but it looks like a potato. I mean, it looks awful. I can see it in front of me right now, and it's just grainy and ugly. So I'm going to figure out how to use my Sony camera to shoot the video for this. So I have a buddy who's into podcasting and doing video, like live stream videos and stuff like that. So I'm going to get with him and kind of figure out how to improve the look of this thing a little bit. But I like doing the video. I like having someone to talk to when I do this. So, all right, man. So let's get into the questions. All right. And this first question comes from my friend Dylan. He was actually a guest on the Analog Talk podcast. His Instagram handle is Now Developing. And he asks, what are your plans for your next zine? Such a good question because, man, I'm so torn. I have a handful of projects going, nothing that I'm like dead serious about, just kind of stuff that if I run into something that fits one of these projects, I shoot it. So I think my next project, what I was working on recently and what I've come up with, because I'm jonesing to get something out there because I talk about zines and I talk about printing your work all the time. And I think the next project that I want to do is a B-sides project, kind of like the photos that I've looked over in the past, I'd say year or so, and do something with those. Kind of just use them and get them out of the way. Just photos that I haven't been that into. So I think that a B-side zine is going to be my next zine, and it's going to help me kind of narrow down the photos for the big project that I've been working on for the last couple of years. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm excited to get some new work done, and I love the process and I'm just going to do these like super Xerox-y. I'm not going to go through any kind of book publication. The B-side zine is just going to be a black and white, and I'll probably do it at like Staples or Office Max or something like that. Just spend, $50 or something to do something very minimal, just a handful of pages, just to get some of these photos that I like, but they're just not quite fitting anywhere. They don't fit in my long-term project, and they don't fit in the two like short-term projects that I've been working on. So Dylan, good question. B-sides. I'm going to be doing a B-side zine. I'll definitely tag you in the work. Dylan's awesome, man. He runs Now Developing. It's definitely a cool little site. You should check it out. And this question comes from Nick S. Posado. I'll throw up Nick's Instagram here. Nick, thanks for sending this question in. I thought this was awesome. Nick asks, who are some of your biggest influences when you started out photographing? Good question. So I don't really know how long it's been since I started shooting photos, because I did the old, photography 101, 102, 112 in 112 in high school. And I really wasn't, I was in high school. I was worried about girls and getting out of school. So I didn't really pay attention then. But later on, I started shooting kind of weird abstract-y videos for YouTube. I used to make this kind of like weird lo-fi electronic music, and I would like to take a Casio camera and make lo-fi music videos with them, like just me walking around town, kind of like vloggy stuff, but not I don't know how to explain it. If you search on the web, I'm sure you will find some of these weird videos. But I think like my first inspiration into shooting pictures comes from just like Transworld and Thrasher and Ed Templeton. Ed Templeton is life. Like, he's definitely in the top like 3 favorite photographers of all time. And it's because he's more than a photographer. He's a skateboarder. He's immersed in the art world, and he's an amazing photographer. And I have a couple of his books. I have a couple of his photo books, and I just get so much out of that. And with comes Ed Templeton, there's this guy called Larry Clark. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Kids, Larry Clark is the writer and director. Harmony Korine did the screenplay of Kids, and he gets a lot of credit for the movie Kids, but Larry Clark is definitely like the bones of that operation. And he's got a couple books from like the 70s and stuff that are very, very graphic. There's a book called Tulsa Tulsa, Arizona. It's about his days of shooting up meth, and it's just so like raw, and oh man, there's just something about it that draws me in every time I look at Larry Clark's work. So, I got into Ed Templeton stuff, which led me into Larry Clark, and then realizing that Larry Clark directed like some of my favorite movies and stuff like that. But I'm just into, it's funny, like my photography doesn't kind of reflect what I'm really drawn into, and that's kind of a problem. That's kind of a problem that I've run into. I'm not shooting the things that I need to be shooting. So that's a good question. You just brought me totally, you made me honest with myself right there and made me realize that I should be doing what I want to be doing. But I would say Ed Templeton, Larry Clark, and then, what got me into large format, I don't know if you guys know, I've been shooting a lot of large format photography recently, and I just love Sally Mann. There's something about her work, and there's a documentary called What Remains that's floating around on Amazon, or it's probably on like iTunes and stuff like that. She really got me into the large format thing. Like, I just want to shoot like old brass lenses and 8x10 and just crazy stuff. And, her main focus is usually her family. And then she did a project on the South because she's from the South, and Civil War and battlefields, and then her family and the dead. I think I said family twice, but there's this practice, or there's this work that she did that is about the dead. It's like her dead greyhound, and then she goes to this forensic testing facility where they just let bodies decompose and they kind of like work on them and learn from them. And that body of work is so haunting and chilling. Like, man, the more I talk about this, the more I realize like how dark I must be. Jeez. But yeah, those are probably my, my main like big banger photographers. I would say Ed Templeton, Larry Clark, Sally Mann. And then, with YouTube and getting into stuff like that, there's like Matt Day and Nate Mattis. Like, he used to run PD Exposures TV, and then he had the PD Exposures podcast. Like, man, talk about inspiration. The guy was doing this YouTube thing on photography way before it was like trendy. And, same with Matt. Matt's always been doing awesome stuff on the YouTube, along with Ted Forbes. Ted Forbes is another good one. You don't see much of Ted's work, but his knowledge of, old photographers and stuff like that, like, it's just, I miss his old tutorial videos. I miss the old Ted Forbes. Does anybody agree with me on that? Not that his stuff now is wrong. I mean, I get it. You got to do what you got to do to survive, and YouTube is his full-time job. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too all over the place for you. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, and this question comes from T. Froestad. T. Froestad? It'll be up here. You guys let me know. I'm really bad at saying names, and especially Instagram handles. They're the toughest. And he asks, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you started making images? And man, the one thing that I wish I knew when I first started getting into this was, framing. I feel like framing an image and kind of waiting for the image to come to you is one of the most important aspects of this thing, especially if you're into street photography and stuff like that. Framing is so important. I've taken so many pictures that were great pictures, but they just weren't framed properly. Like, I caught somebody doing something awesome, but the framing of the image, I didn't actually take the time to look through and get everything right. Like, if I just would have been over to the left a little bit, if I would have, just taken a second. So my little hint to that would be, if you're, I'm fast. I like to just shoot and go, like gun and go when I'm out shooting, around town, working on my Franklin project that's been an ongoing project for a long time. I don't take my time, and that's the one thing that I wish I would have been kind of aware of when I first started getting into this. Because like I said, a lot of my early work is just too quick. Something's out of frame. It's not quite right. And I know that if I would have just taken a second and adjusted to the left or to the right or up or down, or just waited one more second to hit the button, I would have been more satisfied with missing the picture because it just wasn't there than just kind of wasting the picture because I thought it was there, but I just was rushing because I'm so, so I guess just taking your time and working on framing would be the most important thing to me that I wish I would have known when I first started getting into this, because, spraying and praying is possible even with film. Believe it or not, like I can blow through a roll of film, especially with an automatic camera like a Nikon F100. Like all you got to do is push the button and you're blasting shots. So yeah, just take your time. Take your time. That's what I wish I would have known. Thanks again for the question, dude. Always nice to chat with you on the Instagram, and thanks for the support all the time, buddy. Thanks a lot. All right, and my last question comes from JJ Baker Photo. Dude, check out his work. And he asks, what inspires you to have your YouTube channel, i.e. to inspire others into film photography, to share your photographic process, to help grow and create a film photography community, etc.? I had to think about this a little bit. So, at first, when I first started getting into YouTube, I was just doing it to learn how to shoot video. Basically learn how to shoot or find my style. I used to do a daily vlog. I went 150 days, I'll say, consecutively, and learned so much about shooting video in that time and editing. The crunch time, it was weird. Like I was doing a daily vlog for my family, basically, because I live, I think it's like 750 miles away from my family. So they don't get to see my everyday. And I thought it'd be cool to, Casey Neistat was big and daily vloggers were blowing up, and it was just the thing that everybody was doing. And I was like, man, I could do that. So I started doing it, and the process was so much fun. I was having such a blast until it was too much, like I completely burned myself out, and I still feel burned out from that back. That was like a year, that was almost 2 years ago I was doing that. It was 2 years ago because I just got a Facebook reminder saying that 2 years ago I put my first video out the other day, and it really burned me out. But when the dust settled of being burned out, I kind of realized that all along I've wanted to make a photography channel. I just didn't feel confident in myself at first. And then, I still don't feel super confident, but eventually you just don't care. Like, you just want to document your story. And that's kind of what it is. I used to do more gear reviews and film stock reviews when I first started doing, film photography related videos. And then I realized I really enjoyed doing kind of a day in the life thing. Like I put together a day in the life YouTube series. I mean, it's called Day in the Life. And I have so much fun making those videos, and I have so much fun shooting that style of video. It's like a daily vlog, but it's all about, my one day off during the week that I get to go out and shoot. And I've learned so much from YouTubers, film photography YouTubers, even photography YouTubers, about the process and about slowing down and about, aperture and ISO and film stocks and this and that and gear reviews. And I just thought, if somebody could learn one thing from something that I do, I could help one person. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth putting in the work. And it's like a love and a passion. Like, I love doing this. It's so much fun to plan out a shoot, especially now since I got Jonah on my side. Jonah's my he's going to be my filmer. And we're going to go out and we're going to shoot a lot of videos together. And it's nice to have somebody who's passionate as well about video. And I don't have to tell him what to do. It's so nice. Like, he's like getting the shot. He's always there, and I'm always impressed. So, and it's just a way for me to document time. Just like taking photos, I'll have these videos forever, and I'll have if YouTube stays, we'll have it forever. And that's awesome. I love going back and looking at these old videos that I've done and, seeing progression and seeing, where I was at mentally, because there's so many times where I'm like, I'm doing this project, I got this coming out, I got this, and then those things just don't happen. But it's okay, because it's just cool. It's cool to do it. And what inspires me, I would say, getting the text messages, or getting like Instagram messages and YouTube comments being like, yo man, this is really cool, this really helped me out, will you do a video on this? And it's like, oh my god, that's such a good idea, why haven't I thought about doing a video on that? Just you guys, like the listeners and the viewers, you guys inspire me so much, and it definitely keeps me going. And I feel like I'm being bad when I go 3 weeks without putting out a new video. So I'm definitely going to try to work on all that. I'm working on it now. I got a video halfway edited, just got to wrap it up. I'm going to be doing another podcast next week, another We Believe in Film podcast. I don't know, man. This community is awesome, and I want to do my part to contribute to this community. That's probably what the meat of this question, or of this answer, is basically, I feed off of you guys, and it's so rewarding to help anyone. It's so rewarding to be, useful in any way, or, kind of selfless. I feel like doing these YouTube videos in a way is selfless because, I don't make anything from it. Barely. I make cents to the dollar, and it's nothing. I do it because I love to do it, and I love being there for you guys, and I love this community in general. Like just the other day, I got a text on Instagram, and it was Matt Dane. He was like, dude, I just put 2 and 2 together. I'm in Franklin. You live in Franklin. We should go grab some coffee. And, I could have made a spectacle out of it. I could have brought my camera, and I could have filmed, been like, hey, man, will you please do this for my YouTube channel? But I didn't. I'd rather have lived in the moment. And, dude, we just sat there. We talked about family. We talked about photography. We talked about, his parents, my family, being from Ohio, being from Pennsylvania, living in Tennessee. I'm so glad that it went the way it did. And that would have never happened if I wouldn't have been a part of this YouTube community. So it's cool. It's cool what this community has to offer. And like with the Analog Talk podcast, dude, I get to meet so many of my favorite photographers and people that have inspired me for years. That's why I do this, because it's just awesome. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun being a part of this community. And it's definitely something that I feel like I've been looking for ever since I got out of the music industry and kind of went into this art realm kind of world. So yeah, JJ Baker, thanks for sending in the question. I hope that answers it. Woo. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the quality sounds a little better. I hope you guys got a little something out of it. If you ever want to send me any questions, dude, just hit me up on my email or hit me up on Instagram. It's at timothy.makeups on Instagram. You can Twitter me too. Is that what you call it? Twittering someone? I'm at timothy.makeups on Twitter as well. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to show me or tell me, my email is timothy.makeups@gmail.com. Feel free to email me whenever. I'm always available to talk. Well, not always. I have a full-time job and I do have a life, but I will definitely get back to you, I promise. So yeah, like I said, I have a new YouTube video coming out this week. It's going to be with Jonah and I. We go out and we shoot my Mamiya RB67. I shoot my Canon FTB. I shoot a couple Polaroid originals on my SX70. We go to this weird industrial abandoned area with a basketball hoop. It's going to be a fun video. I got that in the queue ready to go. Just got to finish wrapping up the end of it. Analog Talk, we have a new episode coming this Wednesday. I'm not going to give the guest away. If you guys follow us, you probably know who it already is. But until next time, guys, thanks so much for all the support all the time. I love each and every one of you. I will see you guys next week. Feel free to send some questions. Feel free to send some love. Guys, it's been real, and I'll see you next week. Later.